The Vancouver Canucks extend star forward Elias Pettersson to an 8-year deal. I'll break down the real reason why they extended him, and Tyler Myers is out week to week. I'll get into that later on this episode, but before I start, I just want to say to everyone watching that's not subscribed, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long, giving you updates from all around the Canucks. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is the truth behind the Pettersson extension. And I just wanted to say, Elliotte Friedman tweeted out today, Elias Pettersson signs an 8-year extension with the Vancouver Canucks. Now, this is huge news. I know there's been so many reports flying around that teams were calling on him. The Canucks were getting unhappy how things were being handled, that Pettersson wasn't signing, and the fact that he wanted to wait till the offseason. But they hammered it all down, and as I said, Elias Pettersson has signed for 8 years, and he will be with the Vancouver Canucks for 8 more seasons. Now, Pettersson's contract did come in at $92.8 million. You can see this is an 8-year deal. He has a no movement clause in the final 7 years from 2025 till 2031. You can see each year the cap hit is $11.6 million. AAV's the exact same. The big thing with this is the signing bonus. With the signing bonus, next season he makes $12 million. Signing bonus the year after is at 10. The third year there is no signing bonus, and then the following seasons until the deal is done, he does get a signing bonus of $5 million. The big thing with this is it's not a lot to look into. I mean, obviously he is getting paid his money. He's getting the money each season. But with the signing bonuses being at, like I said, $5 million in the final couple seasons, if the Canucks ever did want to trade him, just say in 2031, 32, if they're going into a rebuild and Petey is going to a different team, once they do have to pay him this, it is easier to trade him because the team's not taking on as much money. We see the Arizona Coyotes love players like this, where they don't have to pay the entire cap hit of the $11.6 million, but they do still get that against their cap, so it does help for rebuilding teams. So if they ever did need to trade him, they obviously can. Now, the big thing with this is Elias Pettersson spoke out and he said, "This is a very exciting day for me and my family. I'm very happy to be continuing my career as a member of the Vancouver Canucks." I think it's safe to say that everyone else here does agree that Elias Pettersson being here for 8 more years does make them happy as well. He continues on to say, "I love this city and playing in front of the fans. We have an exciting group and believe we can do things in the future. Both Jim and Patrik Allvin have done a great job in building this team and creating a culture along with Rick Tocchet, and I want to thank the management for this opportunity." Now, like I said, this is huge for the Canucks. They sign a guy like Pettersson, they lock him up long term, and it's 8 more years of Petey. The big thing with this is why were they rushing to do this? Obviously, teams were calling. We've seen reports come out that the Carolina Hurricanes were looking to make offers. They were including players. And the talks got to the point where Pettersson and the management of the Vancouver Canucks had to sit down and they needed to talk and say, hey, what are we doing here? Where are we going with this? We want to keep you, but if you're not going to sign, we will look at other offers. Obviously, this is in the past. They have it done. And there's nothing to look at that now. But the big reason I think they got this done is just helping them just kind of navigate trade deadline into the offseason when they go into free agency. They know how much money they have Pettersson signed for. They know how much extra cap they have. Yes, they have a ton of UFAs, RFAs yet to sign. But the big thing with this is they have their main priority done. Heading into deadline now, if they do want to pick up another player with term, if they make a bigger trade and grab a guy with 2 years, 3 years left on his deal, they can comfortably do this now, and they know how much they can spend going into the offseason. I know Hronek still needs to be signed. There's a lot of reports flying around that he could be asking for around $8 million. So they do have a lot to work with, but they at least know they have Elias Pettersson signed. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think Pettersson being signed was the right thing by the Canucks? Were you kind of hoping they would look at other trade offers? I know I'm not one of those people. I'm just happy he is here for 8 more years and everything can kind of just pass and we know where Petey will be. Or did you kind of hope that they would wait and just see how much he could perform in the playoffs before signing this 8-year deal and just kind of giving him all this money? But we'll hop straight into the second topic today, which is Tyler Myers out week to week. Now, reports did come out today by Elliotte Friedman. First, Brendan did say, no Tyler Myers at practice, #Canucks. And then Elliotte Friedman went into and said, post-practice, Rick Tocchet said Myers out week to week with a lower body injury. Now, when you do look at this, Tyler Myers is the top penalty killer on the Canucks. He's second on the team in overall time on shorthanded unit. In some good news for the Canucks, minus him being out week to week, defenseman Carson Soucy was a full participant at practice. The 29-year-old has been out since January 2nd with a broken knuckle, so at least the Canucks know that they are getting this guy back. So the big thing with this is if Soucy isn't ready to go, where do you really go with this right now? You have Tyler Myers out week to week. Prior to this, he wasn't out for any games this season. He was on a bit of a streak this year of staying fully healthy. But obviously him being out week to week does kind of change trade deadline a little bit. If he goes on to LTIR, IR, whatever it might be, you have extra money to work with. If Tyler Myers is out long term, maybe he's out till the playoffs. I mean, if you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Vegas Golden Knights, they do love doing this. But I don't think they'll be doing this with Myers. Hopefully this is week to week. He'll be back maybe in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it might be. But if Soucy's not back, like I said, he is back practicing, but he hasn't been in a game since January 20th with a broken knuckle. Where do they really go from here? Obviously, you have a guy like Mark Freeman that can come in, fill out the third period. You can shuffle the lines around a tiny bit. But they also did call up, per the Vancouver Canucks PR, General Manager Patrik Allvin announced the Vasily Podkolzin and Matt Irwin have been recalled from Abbotsford. I can't see Irwin getting into any games. I think this might be more of a situation of just having a seventh defenseman, kind of like what Mark Freeman has been doing with the team. But you do have the possibility of maybe getting him into the team. With Pod coming up, I think this is awesome. We've seen Baines get sent down. Obviously, he looked great in his time, but they needed to change things up. Podkolzin knows the system. He was up last year. He got sent down into the AHL, and he has been looking good down there. Höglander had the exact same thing happen to him, and he came up this year, and he's looking outstanding. One part of the year, he was in the bottom six for the entire season, and he still had 16 goals. So maybe Podkolzin comes up, gets shifted around. Maybe he goes into where Baines was in the lineup. Maybe he fills out that third line where Dakota Joshua has been dearly missed. I mean, right now, Garland hasn't looked the same without him. But maybe he fills in and the Canucks just get a second element of him and just kind of unlock a potential that they didn't have from him last season. But going back to the Myers thing, as I said, Irwin is called up. This is a possibility of getting the lineup. I think Mark Freeman is the obvious answer. And when you kind of look at the defensive pairing as a whole, you have Quinn Hughes, Filip Hronek, you have Ian Cole, and Tyler Myers was playing on the second pairing with him. Obviously, Noah Juleson looks like the most candidate to slide up. You still have Nikita Sidorov, and then you have a guy like Mark Freeman that can slot into the third pairing. Maybe we see guys like Noah Juleson, Friedman getting some more time on the penalty kill. Just testing things out. Like I said, you do get Carson Soucy back, so this is not a situation where you really need to panic. Now, when Carson Soucy does return, maybe you see Carson Soucy to go on the left side, the right side, whatever it might be. When he returns, he will be in this lineup immediately. So what's your thoughts on this? I know it's a lot of information bringing in. Do you think the $92.8 million was too much for Pettersson? Do you think that they got him for the perfect price? Or do you think they maybe got him for a lot cheaper than you're expecting? What's your thoughts on Myers being out? Who do you think is the most likely to fill in, especially if Soucy's not ready? And what's your thoughts on Pod? Do you think he will come up and start to dominate, show what he can really unlock and how good he's been playing in the AHL? Or do you think this is more of a thing just to get a little test, shake things up where the Canucks are on a bit of a skid right now? But that'll be it for this episode of Canucks Digest. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to go down, leave a like, leave a comment. Make sure to go down and subscribe. We're going to be here all season long, and it's going to be quite a busy week next week when trade deadline's coming around. If you have anything you want me to cover, or if you want to live stream, whatever it might be, leave it down in the comments. But that'll be it for this episode. Take care.